Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler has a plan to build 6 mass-sanctioned homeless campsites. He's calling them temporary alternative shelters across the city. It's something we've reported extensively on here at KOIN 6. The first proposed site is on Southeast Gideon Street near Powell Boulevard in the Brooklyn neighborhood. But how will the site, if it comes to fruition, be managed? That's up to California-based nonprofit Urban Alchemy. The group runs shelters in California and Texas and soon here in Portland. Joining me from Urban Alchemy is Chief of Governmental and Community Affairs, Kirkpatrick Tyler. Kirkpatrick, thank you for joining us today on IN Northwest Politics.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanings for having me.
So you're running a new shelter in a new state and a new city. How did you guys get involved here with Portland?
We've been operating a number of interim housing sites in Los Angeles, Austin, Texas, and San Francisco, and a part of that work has been operating Safe Sleep. So in Los Angeles, we operate one of the only Safe Sleep in the city of Los Angeles, the same as the city of San Francisco. And as you probably know, this really is a new intervention that has been a little controversial, and people have kind of been thinking about it, testing it out, conversing around it. But we've been able to operate Safe Sleeps over the last year and a half. And so because of our expertise and the work that we've been able to accomplish, the city of Portland reached out. They were able to come and see the model initially just to see if it was something that was feasible. And from there, we started sharing just our model and the things that we've been able to accomplish with unhoused residents and the changes we've been able to make. And then the RFP came out, we applied, and we're grateful to now be coming to Portland to provide this service.
So one of the hope from city leaders is that good neighbor agreements can be created between the people near the neighbors, businesses close to these sites. How will Urban Alchemy work with neighbors and businesses in the area?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. So I guess just at the core of who we are as an organization, when we open interim housing sites, we see the neighborhood as an extension of the Safe Sleep community. And so we've actually already started by having conversations with residents, local stakeholders, business owners, and most importantly, the residents that'll be staying inside of the Safe Sleep. And so it's a two-pronged effort. We do, kind of intimate conversations with groups. The mayor's office has been really great in supporting us and setting up opportunities to speak with the neighborhood associations. And then our teams actually go out on the ground and talk to residents, not just to say, oh, hey, there's a Safe Sleep coming, but to hear about the type of community that they'd like to live in, to hear about the things that would make these sites appealing, and encourage people to engage and consider this as a safe place to stay.
Another goal for the city is improving outreach to the people who are sleeping on the street, the people who are homeless. What does outreach entail in Urban Alchemy's eyes?
So for us, outreach, usually a part of our secret sauce is that for 3 months, our teams will go out just to build relationships. We really don't like to engage in kind of transactional conversation, but we really want the connection to be transformational. And so our teams go out in Portland because it's a new community that we're entering. We're even connecting with existing case managers, service providers, and outreach teams so that they can introduce us and kind of be a bridge builder between us and our unhoused neighbors. Next, we'll begin, like I said earlier, to have conversations about what the site can look like, begin to partner with unhoused neighbors and potential residents on what the space should look like and what resources are necessary and needed. And then as we get closer to the opening date, begin to encourage people and welcome people in, right? Really start to get people enthusiastic and excited about this new home.
And the next step in that spectrum is getting people connected to services once they're at this site. That's one of Mayor Ted Wheeler's arguments for these sites. How does Urban Alchemy plan to achieve that?
So I think the first thing to point out, and we've had to do this a lot, is expressing exactly what a safe sleep is. As you may know, our unhoused neighbors fall victim to a number of predatory and abusive elements when they are in unsafe environments, particularly kind of free encampments. There are a number of people that come, drug dealers, human traffickers, folks that are loan sharks because they know that residents are going to get their benefits at the beginning of the month. Folks that are renting tents out, and that if residents aren't willing to pay that, they'll burn those tents down. There's an extremely predatory element. And so for us, building those bridges and creating safe space, just so first somebody can get a safe night's sleep. You would be amazed, and we probably all know, whether you're housed or not, how great you feel after you've had a night of rest. And so our first step is to create a safe space. Second, our care coordinators are tasked, one, with becoming familiar with the service system in the city of Portland, but two, on a case-by-case basis, connecting with the service providers and case managers that residents already have relationships with. We like to consider ourselves to be gap fillers. Again, because of kind of the disarrayed nature of an unsanctioned encampment, people can be moved or shuffled around at any time, and it becomes very hard to connect with folks for housing opportunities, for job opportunities. And so our care coordinators work to serve as a gap for the existing services that residents are already participating in, and then bringing new ideas, new resources, and new opportunities to the residents that are inside. And so that takes place both through our regular community engagements and then through one-on-one engagement between residents and our care coordinators.
So this city is craving results. They're craving a change in tide in the homeless crisis here. So what is the organization's track record in connecting people to services and getting people moved to housing?
Absolutely. So I do want to say that we are only as good as the housing resources that are available. Oftentimes, the onus is placed on service providers to magically create housing placements that just don't exist. But in communities where we do have robust housing resources, where the municipality is working to develop and build out affordable and permanent supportive housing for residents, like we have seen happening in Portland, we have been really great at getting residents to transition from safe sleeps and other interim housing interventions into permanent housing. And not just getting them to move, but making sure that they have the supports to stay there so that it's sustainable, and that that we've been able to identify the type of housing placement that a resident would like. And that's really important, because so often we can get caught up in just throwing people in a unit, not understanding the type of community they need, not being aware or mindful of the geographic needs that residents have. And then we find folks who have fallen back out of housing, not because they don't want to be housed, but because where we've placed them is not sufficient for their life needs. And so we've gotten really great at placing people, but more importantly, our work has led to some sustainable housing placements. And so we're looking forward to having that same success in Portland.
So who will be the people working on the ground at these sites, and how are they trained?
So Urban Alchemy, contrary to the work that we do, is not a homeless service organization. We're actually an organization that builds career pathways for formerly incarcerated long-term offenders. The reason that we recruit, and I use that word intentionally, we recruit from the prison system for men and women who have an 10 years or more sentence that they've been done the work to release from, is because we believe that they have a transferable skill sets that they can bring to the work of serving our most vulnerable neighbors. As you may or may not know, when men and women are facing life sentences, in order to achieve their freedom, in order to achieve a parole date, there's a number of classes and sessions and work that they have to do that are interpersonal. Just because of the environment, it requires that people be very situationally aware, that they've developed a tremendous amount of emotional intelligence, and that de-escalation skills are naturally developed. And so when a man or a woman is released, we engage through our recruitment efforts, both by word of mouth, but also through our amazing recruitment and training team, to go and find the best talent that comes out of these spaces. We have a 1-week classroom training that goes over, again, trauma-informed care, emotional intelligence, de-escalation 1, de-escalation 2, working with minority populations, so working with women, working with our sisters and brothers in the LGBTQ community, overdose reversal, how to manage and support residents with substance abuse challenges. And so then after that 1 week of classroom training is 1 week of in the field on the job training that allows us to see a practitioner in action. And then from there, you have about a 90-day window where we're able to mentor and build and follow a practitioner in their first couple of months on the job to see if this is a good fit for them, but also for them to see if they are a good fit for us. And so what we've seen is that those transferable skills allow us to have a great impact in real time, but also to identify challenges even before they bubble up.
Kirkpatrick Tyler is the Chief of Governmental and Community Affairs for Urban Alchemy. Thank you so much for joining Eye on Northwest Politics today, Kirkpatrick.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.